Yes, I thought what I'll do is, it's not really a review, but it's the Titus Silk Road. Hopefully we can see it on the camera. GoPro white. I think it's a 7. It's not really that good. Audio is probably quite bad, so I apologise for that. But yeah, so this is a frame that I built. It's a 16.5, and I'd probably say up to about 5'7", 5'8", you will be on like the top end of the scale for this size of frame. So if you're taller than that, which I think most adult males are that are going to buy this bike, then yeah, you probably want to go for a medium. I don't actually know if it's a male or female specific bike. It's probably just a universal thing. Anyway, as you see it here, we're looking at 13.3 kilos. And when I built this bike, kind of stupidly, I guess, it is a titanium frame. It's quite light. I think in this small size, it's about 1.4 kilos. So yeah, I guess I should have maybe invested in some lightweight equipment, but I didn't. We've got some old WTB i30 wheels that I've put thousands of miles on, and they're still fine. Tech Free X2 brakes with 180mm discs. You can probably see that we do have mud guards front and rear. There we go. Hope F20 pedals. We've got an old Shimano Holotech crank. Oh, and RockShox Revelations. So we've got 130mm travel on the front, which is more than they actually recommend for this bike. So this bike is kind of advertised as a adventure bike. So a lot of people are going to run a rigid fork, or maybe like RockShox SIDs. If they can afford that kind of level of fork, they're going to potentially run something that's 100 to 120mm. Maybe on a 32 stanchion just to keep the weight down, but like I said, I wasn't really bothered about weight. So there is that, 13.3 kilos. I'm happy with that. Also, we're on a 1x11 system where we've got a 40 tooth cassette, basically, so 11 by 40, and then at the front we have a 40mm chainring. In terms of building the frame, it's actually been really easy and successful. There's a few things that I'm not too happy with, but one of them is the integrated headset. Well, if you look on the specs for the bike, you can see that's what it's got anyway. I'm just not a huge fan of that. Also there we have internal cable routing, which generally I'm not a fan of, but it was really easy on this bike. So yeah, the way that they've done the little holes there, it's very difficult to snag the hoses on. It's really nicely done. It's very smooth. I forgot what the tool is, but basically they've sorted the edges out so there's no rough edges or anything like that. It's really nicely done. It's better than the last bike that I had with internal cables, was a Sonda transmitter, and that was an absolute nightmare to do. Also, this is a 5mm hose. You might be able to get a 6mm, so you might be able to get the old braided hoses through that if that's what you wanted to do. But yeah, just not a fan of integrated headsets, just because if the bearings start to wear and you get play in that, potentially the bearing will rub on the frame, and like I say, potentially might cause some damage. It's just a theory that I have based on the Sonda transmitter as well. I didn't have a lot of luck with that frame, so there is that. The next thing that I don't really like, if I just put my glove out the way on the seat, try not to stand in the light too much, is this. So what we've got is the rear derailleur cable housing. You've got the option to run it on the other side. It's just I've chosen to put it on the left to try and add some sort of stiffness, but it didn't really work. The problem is that you've got like a lug here, and then the next one's probably about 9-10 inches away, and it just means that there's a lot of space for it to move around and bow. It would have been nice if they just had one in the middle, and that may have made it a little bit more quiet, because when you're riding and you go over stuff, you do hear that. Not the end of the world. Also, I don't know if you can see in there, but this hole is absolutely huge, and I bought smaller clips to try and reduce the diameter so that the hose wouldn't move as much. But yeah, as you can see, it didn't really work. And then we kind of chose to go around like that, which seemed like the best way to route the shifter cable. I think it rubs less on here. We do have a bit of tape on there to try and protect it, and we try and use these things, but yeah, I don't know how successful they are. And then I'm just going to flip the bike around and then show you the other side. Oh, we're still recording, so yeah, there we are. We've flipped around. We're kind of in our own light here with the sun, but we'll do our best. So yeah, there's the there's a cable routing, and it goes down and then it comes over this side, and then what you have is these lugs, and I'm not really a fan of them because weirdly when they've done the internal cable routing for the brake line, they've done a really good job and everything's smooth, but these lugs are quite sharp on the ends, and when you push this outer housing, this shifter cable outer housing through them, the housing easily can get scratched. It's not too bad on this one and this one, but there is another one just down in there, basically where my finger is, down in there. So there we go, somewhere in there, hopefully you can see, but yeah, that's a bit of an issue because it scratches the cable like hell, and it's quite difficult to thread the cable through at that angle because it's quite a sharp angle if you go along and then you're going up like that. But I guess the biggest problem that I have with this frame, kind of disappointed I guess, but it's not the end of the world, is they've put these lugs on the back, right? So you've got one there, one there, one there, one there, and then you've got one up here, but they don't actually do a rack. They don't make a rack for it. Are we still moving? Yes, GoPro's still working, miracle. They don't do a rack for it, and they don't do any like mount for your mudguard. So when it came to fitting this mud hugger, you can see I've kind of bodged it and cut a piece out, put this mastic tape on here with these little covers for the zip ties to try and protect the frame, but yeah, ultimately not too happy with how that's gone. It's just annoying if you're going to put lugs on there and then you back out from making the rack. It's like, why have them on there? They're just in the way now. They're just totally pointless, I think. I mean, if you think of, or if you know of any mudguard that would fit on this kind of system, we don't really have any mount around here, but we have that, and then that one. Maybe there is a kind of triangulated mudguard that would fit on there, but as of yet, yeah, kind of disappointed in that. I do like the mud hugger because it's really thick, and it's, once you mount it properly, it's very robust and doesn't move around. You can go downstairs and stuff like that and it's not flopping around. So yeah, I did try some of the ones that go around the seat post, like the Zefal and a few others, and I just found them too floppy. So when you're riding, basically the mudguard's just, as you're pedaling, the mudguard's just on the back doing that, and then it doesn't really protect you from the mud. So there is that. But yes, I think that's probably it for my kind of complaining. I do like the frame. It's built up very, very easily. Looks really good, as you would expect, all the weldings. I can't see. It's a problem with the GoPros. You touch the touchscreen and you can't see what you're filming, but hopefully you can see some sort of welds there. You know, it's nicely finished up to there. So yeah, generally I'm happy with it. I'd probably say 95%, so that's a good amount for me, because I'm quite picky and quite critical of things. The other thing is we're running this 40-tooth chain ring, and you can probably see you've got quite a lot of space in there. So I believe that you could potentially get a 44 on there. You could definitely get a 42. This is quite far out away from this area. If we can try and get a bit better shot, you can see that obviously everyone's fingers are different thicknesses, but that would be kind of, you know, it's probably about 20 mil of space. So there is that. Yeah, other good things is we do have some nice seat stay brake mounts, which that bolt's probably a little bit long there that I've put in there, or that screw, but that just means you can put that rear caliper on there easy and adjust it. I hate chain stay brake mounts, just awkward, doesn't need to be that way. We are on a 148 as well, rear axle. So yeah, you have, I'm guessing with this and the way the bike was advertised as a adventure bike, you could probably run like a 2x11 crank. You might even get away with like a triple crank on here with a 44. Yeah, because that would be further out. So, but don't quote me on that, it's just an assumption. But apart from that, I think we're very happy with it. Yeah, we've even gone for the motion control pop lock on there. We do have tech freeze as well, because personally I think they're the most reliable and currently the best levers that you can get from Hope. Rental fat bars, blah blah blah, some yeah, 13.3 kilos. So yeah, pretty happy. Oh, the last thing is that we are running 29 by 2.25 tyres. It will tell you on the specs when you buy one of these bikes, or if you look at a frame or something like that, there are specs out there, and I think it's, you can run like a 2.4 or 2.5 on here. So if we're on a 2.25, and you can see hopefully down in there where my finger is, we've got probably like 10 mil of space. So yeah, as long as your wheel is dished centrally, you should have about 10 mil of space on either side. But I think that pretty much covers everything with the bike. Oh, it can look a little bit squashed, I think, when it comes to like video in this bike, but my previous bike was an On1 Big Dog, which is the big kind of 4130 chromoly steel frame, bit of a tank. It was about 2 kilos, maybe 2.5 kilos heavier than this bike, with roughly the same spec, because a lot of the stuff I took off of that bike and put it on here. But actually riding this bike doesn't feel squashed at all. Feels very similar to the On1 Big Dog, to be fair. Looks squashed, looks like it's got a short wheelbase, but it's not massively agile. And I guess if you can read the numbers and work them out on the spec sheet, then you know what you're dealing with. But for someone like myself that doesn't really know what a 426mm reach is going to do for me, or I don't know, chainstay of 420mm, all that stuff is irrelevant to me. I just don't really know it that well. I would say it's quite a middle ground kind of bike. It's a good climber, it's good downhills, it's lightweight, and it's agile. So yeah, I'd kind of put it in a neutral kind of setting, I guess, and maybe that's what they were going for. I haven't had the front wheel lift on a hill, but I do spend most of the time standing up pedaling. So yeah, I'm very, very happy with it.